Hi, I'm Vicky, and this is Salt District Sounds, where I'll be showing records from my vintage Taiwanese record collection. This week we have Taiwanese bootleg vinyls from the 60s. So you can tell they're bootlegs because they came in this clear plastic vinyl and were very flimsy. And the covers were these mimeographed covers, and they usually had a lot of mistranslations, and they were hand-drawn. And the records were usually this color-tinted vinyl, and that's from the material of the day. And the way they would create the bootlegs is first they would have just one copy of the very original LP, and then through this electroplating process they would create second generation stampers. I first read about these records in Andrew F. Jones' Circuit Listening, and there's a whole chapter on the bootleg vinyls, and here is the Beatles' Sgt. Pep-Peps. So in the 60s, Taiwan was actually the epicenter of the pirated vinyl record industry. And at one point, there was 45 to 116 vinyl pressing plants, and they were all in sanchong in New Taipei City. If you take a closer look at the pirated vinyl industry in Taiwan, what you would get is actually a map of U.S. imperialism in the Cold War. And that's because Taiwanese manufacturers saw that there was a completely ready-made market with the soldiers who were stationed all across East and Southeast Asia, and they were there to contain communism. And every day there'd be 2 Pan-American flights flying in, and they would stop by Taipei, Kaohsiung Port, Tainan, Taichung, and even in Taipei there was a whole bar crawl, and when they arrived the soldiers would get a pamphlet brochure. Then internationally, outside of Taiwan, they would export all these pirated vinyls to North Korea, Okinawa, Korea, and all the way down to the Philippines. So Taiwan was just churning out all these bootleg records, and a lot of them were these compilations of Billboard hits of the day. Here's the Student Sound series, and it was the most popular series of the time, and it's called 学生之音. So one of the positive outcomes of all this was in the 70s, Taiwan would be able to have its own musical movements. And that's because compilations like this, they introduced artists like Bob Dylan and singer-songwriters like Joni to the local Taiwanese kids of the day. Now Taiwan had the manufacturing means to create records, but also they had developed local consumer markets. So in the 70s, you have something like校園民歌, the campus folk movement, which emerged after all of this, and Taiwan having its own new folk voice. This one is probably my favorite bootleg that I own, and it's Mike Nichols' The Graduate, 毕业生. Actually, if you go to Chenmei Theater in Tainan, on the side, on the brick, there's a painting of this exact bootleg cover.